Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
Just ahead of John Shannon. A reminder that all of our guests today, including John, standing by, brought to you by Able Auctions, ableauctions.ca. Saturday, September 23rd, Able will sell a large inventory of new patio furniture, patio heaters, modular high-tech showers, and 20 brand new Napoleon fire tables. This is the time of year you want to buy this stuff for the summer, when summer's over. Everything from sectional patio sofas, 4 different styles of Napoleon fire tables, all sold to the highest bidder. For info on this auction and other auctions, or to get your business assets sold at auction, go to ableauctions.ca, A-B-L-E auctions.ca. As we bring in NHL Analyst, co-host of the Bob, I'm never going to get used to what's beside me, by the way. Co-host, actually, I'm not used to what's normally beside me, by the way. Co-host of the Bob McCowan podcast is John Shannon. John, thanks for doing this, sir. No Rick here. We apologize for that. How are you?
Don't apologize. Listen, by the way, I need a new fire pit, so I might be going in on the website on perfect. The 23rd on ableauctions.ca to get a new fire pit. I hope they can ship to Ontario.
Oh, they can do everything. Yeah, they're magic there. Believe me. Able Auctions, ableauctions.ca. 2025 World Cup. I'm going to guess that you heard what Bill Daly had to say. It sounds like it would be like a unique format. What do you believe when it comes to that? And do we need another World Cup versus the Olympics?
Well, the reason we're having a World Cup, is that the NHL and the Players Association will control it and control the revenue. The last time we had a World Cup in 2016, they put $40 million in their pockets, Donnie, and that's the one reason why there will be another tournament. And I guarantee you with a February 2025 tournament, they're going to generate a heck of a lot more than $40 million. So the answer is yes, there's going to be a tournament. Yes, it will be in, I guess, the similar break that will happen the following year when they are in Italy for the Olympics. And hopefully, I think they have their toes and fingers crossed that by then the Russians will be able to compete.
Will we see Team Europe and Team North America again, that sort of thing?
I don't know. I mean, I think that Team North America was just a factor that was the only way to get Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid onto a team. We were at a point where there was a need for 2 more teams. You know, there were a couple of European nations that didn't have a good group of years, and they didn't feel they'd be competitive. And Connor and Austin and a bunch of young kids were so good. That included Nathan McKinnon, if I recall. They were so good. It was an under-23 team that it was a good way to put them on some sort of platform. I think it frustrated all those guys because all of them wanted to play with their national flags on their jerseys. But it worked out. The Euro team got to the final. I think that shocked a lot of people. But that was just a simple way to get to a level of a quality tournament as opposed to having 6 teams.
Paul Bissonnette, spitting chicklets, claiming Mike Babcock violated players' privacy, asking to see photos of their cell phones. Mike Babcock has shot back at Paul Bissonnette. Boone Jenner has backed his head coach. Same goes with Johnny Gaudreau. What's your opinion of all this, John?
Well, Mike Babcock has to be perfect in every approach that he has to the game based on the stories that we heard of that were confirmed in Detroit and Toronto. He cannot make a mistake. So that's one part of it. What we're also seeing is that we're seeing people around the game, not necessarily in the game, around the game that still have an axe to grind with the way Babcock handled themselves, whether it was with themselves personally or in a group situation. This is a difficult one in that, do I think that I should be, if I was a coach, asking you to give me your phone so I can download photos, if that's in fact what happened? I think that crosses a line. if I said to you, Donnie, give me 4 pictures of your family and your kids and I can put it on a wall so that we can all work together, I think that would be okay. The privacy issue of a telephone, I don't really think if we could call it a telephone anymore. The privacy issue of a phone now does cross a bit of a line. But I don't think that I don't think there was anything nefarious that Mike Babcock was doing. I think he was trying to create a bond with his players. Yeah. And that's okay. That's what should happen. He is actually trying to do the one thing, in my opinion, that people accused him of being in Toronto and Detroit, and that was aloof. And hey, listen, there's a difference between a 60-year-old guy and a 22-year-old player. And, that age gap and that generation gap is sometimes gets misconstrued. I don't think Babcock intentionally did anything wrong other than try to talk to a player on his own level, and I don't think the players necessarily understood. I don't listen. If Paul Bissonnette's, I like Paul. I think he's a talented guy. Do I think he crossed the line? I think he's crossed the line with some of his tweets in the last 24 hours.
Yes.
I think he really has crossed the line. And if I'm the league, and if I'm TNT, and if I'm Rogers, and he's working for me, I'd be a little concerned about that. I would be concerned about that, and I would tell that to Paul to his face. But I don't believe he talked to Boone Jenner. I don't think he talked to Johnny Gaudreau. And I think when you're getting into this world of, and Don, you've lived it, of news and information, you need to back up your sources. You need to back up and then throw the names out. You need to be, I think, complete. Bissonnette's a smart guy. Bissonnette knows what his role is with the NHL and within the game and on Spit and Chicklets. And I think that this is one that might be a learning lesson for Paul.
Yeah, there's one tweet in particular. I'm not going to get into it, John, because it's not for these airwaves. I'm wondering what TNT is going to think about it. It crosses a lot of lines.
Well, let me ask you this. I don't have 10-year-old kids anymore in my house.
Yep.
But if I'm a regular viewer of Paul Bissonnette's content on either Hockey Night in Canada, where I believe he's going to work this year, and TNT, I'm not sure I would want my 10-year-old then going on Twitter and finding Paul's Twitter feed and asking questions about certain tweets. I think that's distasteful. Yeah. And I know I'm old. Listen, Donnie, I know I'm old. I know I have a way of doing things. I know you and I are both taught the same ways about this business. And I also know the world has changed.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a level of class and decorum when you are put in that platform that you have to be aware of.
Now, the influence on kids is a really good point. You can check out his feed, folks, and you'll know the tweet I'm talking about. Hey, John, out here, you're a BC boy. Canucks, one of only 2 teams in the NHL without a practice facility. They're searching for one, I would imagine, as we speak. The Flames don't have one, but they're getting one with their new arena. How important is it for a team to have NHL team to have a practice facility?
I think it's vital now. I think when you look at convenience, time, space situations, less stress on your training staff, and just as importantly, Donnie, recruiting free agents. When you can say we're going to put you in the same dressing room, and you're going to either walk to the practice facility or you're going to walk to the main rink, I think it's vital to the success of luring free agents into a situation. I think that's been a huge aspect of what's gone on Edmonton. Edmonton has a great situation, and they have one dressing room, and you walk either to the community rink to practice, or you walk to the main rink at Rogers Place. And I think it helps everything. This is a no-brainer for any NHL team, not just Vancouver. This is a no-brainer. And, the first time I remember going to a practice facility was in Voorhees, New Jersey, when the Philadelphia Flyers had one way back when in the 1970s, in the 70s. And it was a huge aspect. Rangers had one north of the city in Rye, New York. Everybody lived in Rye, and it would only commute to Madison Square Garden for home games. Yeah. I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's got to happen. And by the way, Jimmy Rutherford knows that too. That's why it's gonna happen. He knows it's important. What he had in Cranberry, Pennsylvania, with the Penguins is one of the great facilities in the NHL, and that's going to be something that's going to be a legacy that Rutherford, I'm sure, will try to create in Vancouver.
Very quickly, John, Canucks make the right choice. Quinn Hughes, their 15th captain.
Yeah, I think they did. I think that it's important to have somebody who can perform on the ice. You know, the key thing, he comes from a great pedigree of family. I think, Dad Jimmy's one of the great hockey people that doesn't get credit. His two brothers are vital to the New Jersey Devils. I think that Quinn's going to be the guy that everyone in the media is going to be able to walk up to after every game, as the captain now is expected to do, and give a solid answer and be fair. And I think that Quinn Hughes is the right guy in that situation. And there's lots of guys in those teams, including a guy like JT Miller, that doesn't need a C on his sweater to be a leader.
Well said. John, thanks so much. We'll talk to you next week.
Wow, this was so easy. It was so simple. I would tell Rick I miss him. He's probably watching anyway. So.
Yeah, I supposedly at a wedding. Hopefully he's not watching. Hey, John, thanks for this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Cheers. Yeah.
No. Wednesday morning weddings. I like this. You'd probably get a better deal on the the facility.
Absolutely, it's a thing now, John. You can look it up, and I don't blame people. Hey, John,
I got married. There's 4 of us on the beach in Puerto Vallarta. That's how I got married. 4, so it was easy.
Oh, one of those big shot destination weddings.
Oh, yeah. We had to bail a guy out of jail as the best man.
Oh, perfect.
That's crazy.
We'll save that story for another day. Thanks, John.
Cheers. Okay, let's go Lions.
Yep, Lions in Ottawa on Saturday.